Hello and welcome to Creator Chat, a series where I interview different creators, allowing them to share their favorite games and to put a spotlight on whatever project they are working on. Today we'll be chatting with the creator of Roblox Underrated Games, also known as Mr. Waddy. Who are you and what do you do?
I am one of the creators of Roblox Underrated Games. So, hi. We would be mostly active on Twitter. However, if you would like to follow my other platform, it would be YouTube, TikTok, and Discord server. However, Discord server is more of a casual chat room. If you would like to have a conversation with someone about the underrated games, or you would like to request your games, and you should be at the Discord server. However, if you are looking for approved games or the games that were underrated, I suggest you looking at Twitter or my YouTube page. However, my Twitter would be more of an active platform.
Since you've been on the Roblox platform for a very long time, can you list a few games that you would recommend or some of your favorites?
Adopt and raise a cute kid because I can't just put the kid in the oven. I'm just joking. My favorite games would be me right now, because I don't have a specific favorite game. We approve a lot of games. Like, I have been doing this page since 2017, so if you guys expected me to choose one of the best game, that would be impossible. But my current favorite right now would be Here We Stay. I'm a sucker for Life is Strange type of game, and when I get to play Here We Stay, I love it so much because it showed a lot of vibe when it comes to shows a lot of Life is Strange vibe, and we rarely have this type of game on Roblox. We rarely have this like story mode type of games on Roblox that are inspired or not familiar, I would say inspired from Life is Strange. So I really love Here We Stay, and I heard there's a chapter 2 releasing soon, so I'm looking forward to the second chapter. Let's Go Golfing. That game is amazing. I know that it's simple, but I'm a sucker for those. I'm a sucker for those type of games. The other game that I currently like, Madness Combat Tucker, but the game is currently closed. So I would switch my answer to I think I would switch my answer to Detriment. Yeah, Detriment is amazing. I love Detriment. Detriment has one of the best animations cutscenes ever. Wait, but what's the name of that game? Colt 2? Like the spy game. That's also amazing. So I don't know. There were a lot of games that I have in mind. If you would like to know more, I suggest you checking my page out. Oh god, how could I not talk about this? One more game, in case you really wanted to know. There is this one dream game that I was so obsessed with. It's still underrated. I think the name of the game is The Dream Survey. That game is amazing. I love The Dream Survey for a lot of good reasons. So hopefully you guys get to try The Dream Survey.
What are some of your least favorite games and genres?
Anything that's song-made. Yeah, those were the worst. Okay, next question.
Do you solely run the Twitter page or do you have some sort of team that helps you?
We do have four admins who controls the Twitter page. Back then, in case you guys don't know, I'm actually the person who runs everything. Like, I edited the video, I approve games, I control the Discord server, I handle the Discord server, I post a lot of things on Roblox Underrated Games page, I make the thumbnail, I make the banner, I make the logo. I really made everything from my own two hands. I'm very proud of what I've done. But to answer your question, there are 5 people who control the page right now. Kev Cross, Lade, Kev Cross, Lade, Hey, maybe Keen. I can't remember. Maybe Keen, but maybe not. So total of 5 admins, if you also count me as one of the admins.
You mentioned a lot of what you had to do to start up the Twitter page, but were there any major challenges that you had to experience and go through to kind of grow?
The challenge that I faced the most is having to talk with Song, because it's frustrating, you know. Sometimes you are talking to someone who doesn't even understand you. So it's frustrating, you know, but you have to keep a smile. You have to act like you like him, you know, because I have to deal a lot with burnouts, and I'm not sure whether it's with me or maybe it's tend to be with people's, I don't know, it may tend to various people's. It's up to each people. Yeah, that's the best way I could say it. Some people may be able to handle this much of a burnout, but from handling the page, because sometimes you kind of think that you are helping people, but in reality you still see those games with 0 players. So sometimes you tend to question your page existence on whether it's really doing its objective of helping underrated games or not. The other thing that I felt challenged the most is making videos on YouTube. I don't like making videos. I don't like editing. I don't like voicing over because those weren't my style. Like I don't like those. I'm not born to become a YouTuber. Neither am I born to become an influencer. I'm not born to be those. So to having to edit the videos, like learning to do things that I actually hate is the thing that I felt challenged the most. One thing I do remember from my parents' quote though, surprisingly, my parents supported this. Do you know that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they do support. They really supported me in this journey the whole time. The first time I did talk to my dad, I asked my dad on whether he had enough money to buy me a new microphone. Actually, he actually have enough money to buy a new microphone for him, but sometimes I just felt bad because I don't know why. I felt a little bad, so I did ask him on whether he could buy a new microphone, and he said yes. He asked me what I'm going to use. That was around 2019, the time where I started making videos on Roblox, on YouTube, about underrated games. He was excited. The moment he heard, he was excited because he thinks that it's the way of me having another hobby, and it's the other way that I could actually use my English. Because if you guys are living in Thailand, you kind of know that using English in daily life is very hard. When I was in high school, I don't usually use my English, so he supported me through this whole journey. And ironically, 3 days ago, after I uploaded my latest video, my parents still talks about my subscribers. Are like, oh my god, you have like 5,000 subscribers. That's amazing. And I was so happy to have my parents who supported this dream, you know.
You mentioned your journey to this point, but what major points or great memories did you have?
Not talking to Song, and before this whole interview, that's the best memory. The best journey is being featured on one of the live stream of Craft. Song, I don't think you know who Craft is. Do you know who he is?
Nah, I don't watch Roblox YouTubers.
He is like one of the largest Roblox YouTubers. He made a live stream on my page, and that's that's amazing. He is one of the YouTuber that I respected a lot because of the way he shows a lot of moralities, and he guides a lot of viewers onto he is like a good example for his young viewers, and that's rare when it comes to Roblox YouTuber, because there were some Roblox YouTubers who wouldn't even care about the young viewers. But I like Craft, and I've been watching his video ever since I was around 12. So I had a lot of respect for him. So the moment he made a video on my page, I was honored. And I was so happy for the games that were featured on his page, because it shows, hopefully it shows a lot of Craft viewers that there were a lot of games being very underrated, and there were games that needed more players, or deserved some more players, or deserved their place on the front page of the Roblox. So that is the thing that I was glad the most. The other memory that I was happy the most is me finishing my official videos. The video about RPG games, that is one of the videos that I extremely love, because that is the first time I become extremely serious about editing, and I actually learn editing and stuff. So that is the memory that I also enjoyed. The other memory that I also enjoyed is like meeting Song for the first time, because it's rare to see someone who were at first I thought I was in this journey alone. And the whole time I actually thought I was in this journey alone, until until I get to meet Song. I met Song, and I have a lot of fun being in his video. I have a lot of fun discovering new games with him, and I have a lot of fun being in his community and getting to talk to the people in his community, because his community obviously have a lot of people who are interested in underrated games. So I am very happy at that time I was so glad to get to talk to other YouTubers, even though some of the YouTubers I get to talk with weren't like a huge mainstream YouTuber, but at least it felt like I wasn't in this journey alone. At the same time, making my first ever Discord server, that's the thing that I would be happy for a long time, because back then I didn't plan on making a Discord server, because I didn't plan on this to be this huge. I didn't plan on my page to be this big. I didn't plan on my page to be this. If me in the past would get to look at how my page is now, I don't know what he would react. He would be like, wow, that's not me. That's impossible. But someone like me wouldn't do that. That is what my old me would say, but here we are.
For your page, was this the original goal when starting out, or did you have something a little bit different in mind?
To be honest, this is how I imagine my page. I'm not joking. This is how I imagine my page. And however, if you want it to be very exact, I do imagine my page to be like a game review page a bit, like where I would type my opinions on this game, give it a rating and stuff. But it wasn't my main goal, so I wasn't that serious about those. I also do have plans back then on making videos to be as familiar to, like Game Review by Max, the game reviewer that were posted on Roblox official page.
You've mentioned it before, but I don't remember it on my own. I remember Roblox's old blog, but that was so long ago, so I don't remember every single aspect.
Back then, that would be videos made by Roblox that featured like a game review, and I was so obsessed with those series because those series like presented a lot of good games on Roblox, and I really want to recreate that video, but I tend to unable to recreate those because my English skills back then wasn't that great. I did get to work with this one magazine company called Archive Magazine that were made by this one Roblox developer. I cannot remember his name, but I was a part of it. I get to wrote my own page, my own magazine page about one game. I can't remember the name of the game, but it's like this driving car game and stuff. I would tell you the name of the game if I have time, but at that time I was so excited, and I also get to become like one of the reviewers that were on the website. I would frequently review games that I came across on his website. However, at that time I decided to quit the job because I felt embarrassed. I didn't feel embarrassed. He didn't do anything to me. I just felt embarrassed with myself because every single time I posted my review, I need to let him do the grammar check, and that's embarrassing for me because he need to like at least provided his free time to sit down and check my grammar or whether my writing is right, because back then I made a lot of grammar mistakes. I made a lot of English mistakes. I forgot the full stop. I forgot the past tense. I misspelled a lot of stuff, and at that time I felt like I wasn't ready for this job. So back then I was thinking of applying again when I was around in the next 3 years or something. Apparently the magazine got shut down. No, they didn't got shut down. They disbanded for an unknown reason. I do remember me posting on Twitter about this magazine thingy, on how I am so glad to be a part of it. If to answer your question in the shortest term ever, yes, all of the things that I imagined were the exact way on how it turned out.
You mentioned a few of these other creators, the magazine and the reviews. Would you say these are inspirations which led you to create your Twitter page, or did you have a few other inspirations or anything that kind of pushed you towards this direction?
Epic Rika. I mean, I don't think you know about this YouTuber, but Epic Rika is one of the Roblox YouTuber that I have a lot of fun watching his video. I love his review so much. I wish to be him. Apparently, I don't have enough skills to be him. He stopped posting on YouTube now, if I remembered, but he used to post a lot of game reviews. He used to post a lot of stuff, and I gained a lot of inspiration from him. At the same time, I also gained a lot of skills working with archive magazines. I gained a lot of editing style or game review style from Game Review by Max that were posted on Roblox. I think those were all the inspiration I had. Because back then, I don't think anyone made a video about underrated Roblox games. I don't think no one ever. So maybe I'm the first person who pioneered this. I'm not sure. I'm scared of taking credits. Because maybe there's someone who also who are doing the same things as I do, but I just don't know that they existed or something. So yeah, those were the ones that I felt pushed me in a way. The reason that I made my page in the first place is because in the end, after I quit my job at Archive Magazines, back then I used to request a lot of underrated games to be featured on the magazine. I do understand the creator though, because he wanted to feature games that were well known. He wanted to interview developers that were well known back then. So he would be like, no, we would rather accept like games with a lot of players and a lot of visits. And the only time that I get to talk about underrated games would be on my blog, which were posted on his website, which unfortunately doesn't have a lot of views because his website, because back then the magazine wasn't that huge, or maybe it was huge but people just don't want to read the reviews and stuff. So yeah, back then I felt like I could not I felt like, yeah, I kind of need to make the page on my own now. Because if nobody's going to do it, then if I weren't going to do it, then nobody's gonna do it. So maybe I have to be the one who started this. So I made it my page and the story goes from there.
You have been reviewing a ton of games. And so, were there any games with amazing first impressions, but once you kind of got into it, it was really bad?
No, I don't want to talk about this because it's discredit a lot of developers on their work. I do have a lot of sometimes I do have those kind of impressions. I would rather not say it, not because of the controversy or because of the drama. I feel like when the developer, when you were in real life, when you work on something, you work very hard and you show it to someone and they felt disappointed, you would feel a little demotivated. And I don't want to demotivate this developer for only my words because, I'm just this one ordinary person who doesn't even know how to make games. So no, I would not I wouldn't answer that question. But thank you for asking though. I'm scared of the developer actually listening and being a little demotivated.
Okay, so without saying specifics, that has happened, presumably.
I cannot say that.
Okay.
No, I cannot say it. There's no way I will answer that question. No. You cannot force me. Except for $1 million.
There's a price tag. Is there something you wish developers did more?
Oh, I would not like to answer this one. But I do have my answer in mind though. But I don't want to say it because I feel like I'm not in the position as like the developer to know what's the issues about actually making games is or issues about promoting games. If you are one of the developers listening to this, you are basically listening to someone who doesn't even develop games. So take this with a grain of salt. I do wish that the developer would be more original with their work and use the word inspiration correctly. When you were inspired by something, you don't copy the game's atmosphere and call it something else, There used to be like this Among Us game where the developer were obviously taking the games from Among Us. They typed the word inspired on the bottom of the description, but the game is literally a sausage man. Not sausage, like a half sausage person in red, blue, yellow, white suit murdering each other on the ship. Not murdering each other. There's like a murderer on the ship and they have to find who the murderer is. It's the same as Among Us. Like they didn't even bother changing the atmosphere or the environment. If you would like to call your game inspiration, or you would like to call your game like something that was inspired by something, put your twist into it. Like if I was inspired by Among Us, I would actually make a game like this one game where people would be like a Wild West desert and there is this one sheriff and there are other people running around and I would add like emotes and I would add something that put my style into this. You know, you can change another things about your game. It doesn't have to be like spaceship out of space. It can be like the desert or the town or the hotel. It doesn't need to be a half sausage person wearing a spacesuit. It can be like a town person or a ghost, or just made a game about ghosts finding who the real human being who are using like the Ghostbuster sucker to suck all the ghosts in is and stuff. You cannot call a game inspiration if you don't put your twist into it. If you didn't even bother to change the environment, you just bothered to change the graphics, then that's not inspiration. You are just basically putting that game on Roblox.
When it comes to getting noticed on Roblox, do you think it is the task of the side of the developers or on the side of Roblox more?
In reality, both were necessary factors. Because, oh gosh, it's like a complex question. A simple question with a complex answer. I mean, it's also up to the developer effort too. It's also on the developer effort too. But I don't want to talk about this part because we don't know how the developers do to like promote their games or do to gain attraction and stuff. So I won't going to say we're going to talk about the developer part. But I do know that in order for the game to made it has to also come from the developer effort. But from my own experience, a lot of the effort go to waste because of Roblox and their algorithms of approving like simulators, or the algorithm of approving copy games or trends to make it onto the page. I do wish that there were some Roblox admins or the Roblox workers who be underrated games, or at least put them on a spotlight. Make like a game review on YouTube showing these games and, you know, giving them plays on Roblox. Like how they did with game review with Max. I want them to do this. I want them to bring back game review with Max, but also give spotlights on underrated games.
Do you think social media is a great way for developers to promote their game, or is it a waste of time due to how much is already out there and how much effort goes into advertising through social media?
I think social media is a great platform. It wasn't a waste of time. I feel like a lot of developers have different approach when it comes to advertising their games, which I don't know on how they do it, but a lot of them may have different kinds of approach. I feel like none of the approach is a waste. The reason I'm saying this is because I am the person who run the page. I would say anything that you do will lead you to the moment. If you were like my page, I have a lot of followers now. Back then, I would say something like, oh, it's such a waste making videos on YouTube. But when you kind of become, I wouldn't say successful, but if you made it this high, maybe it's not high for someone else, but for me, it's very high. You kind of tend to look back and you tend to be like, to be honest, those maybe were the reason that I made it. If you were a developer listening to this, any kinds of advertisement were worth it. Even though you might not gain players, you might not gain anything great, but at least you get to learn something from it. And when you learn something from it, you improve on it. So take it from someone who doesn't develop games, I guess.
There are a ton of games on Roblox. Do you have a sort of system or criteria when reviewing games? If I were a developer and I came to you, would you review my game, or is there something I have to do?
You just need to put your games on game request and all the criteria will be written on the Discord server. I do not want to talk about it here because it would take 2 hours. Really read the whole criteria, understand the whole criteria, understand on how our system works. I know it's not perfect right now, but we will work on the criteria soon. We are slowly improving our criteria and stuff, but if you needed any answers or you have any questions, it would be best if you DM me, preferably.
Just for clarification's sake, when reviewing games, this all happens on Discord and then they get posted to Twitter, right?
Yes, but sometimes if we found a game randomly on Twitter or on Roblox or on YouTube and we liked it, that game will instantly got posted.
Mr. Wadi, do you have anything that you would like to say, promote, or mention at the very end here?
One thing that I learned from running this page is the word patience. That's the thing that I learned a lot from running this page. Back then, I have a lot of burnouts about the page. I have a lot of things. I have to deal with burnouts a lot because I tend to question whether my page is actually helping people or not. But sometimes you just need to trust your guts and keep on going. That's the best way that I could actually say about the whole journey. The whole journey of Roblox Underrated Games is the word patience and the word empathy. Because you need empathy to understand the developer. Sometimes the developer close the games for their personal reasons, and sometimes the developer also have to deal with things. They are also human beings. So those two were the things that keep my page going, and those were the things that I would always keep to myself. It really is like an answer to my long question on whether if you don't actually have anything. The first time I actually make the page, I don't have anything. I don't have the connections to people. I don't have people who are. I don't have this kind of community backing me up. So I'm basically just starting everything from my own two hands. And that's the thing that I'm proud the most. Maybe one thing that I could give advice to someone, if you are making something, I suggest you making it on your own first. So you know the system of your own, of the things you created. And then you started to make communities from the things that you make. That's the thing that I would give it off to someone who are actually also. I do suggest you guys make your own underrated game page. Make it your own name, make it your own page, suggest a game that you love, suggest a game that you want. Another way of improving the way Roblox chooses underrated games. The other thing that I would like to say to you guys is the word empathy. When you are supporting one's underrated games, or you are supporting this developer underrated games, I want you guys to have empathy, because in the end, those developers also experience burnout the same way you guys would if you guys are learning in high school or college. They also experience burnout. They also experience human problems. At the very least, have the empathy and try to understand that they are also human beings. All the criticism you send to them, try your best to be as a constructive of a criticism as possible. And one more thing is, if you guys get to check my page out, I do suggest you guys spread the games around. The only thing that I really want you guys to do is to spread those underrated games that were featured on my page around, and try your best, or be the other person who at least voice about the concern on how the front page system of Roblox is doing, and why are these games are still under the rug. So that's the closing statement. I hope I see you guys later. Okay, thank you for watching.